Welcome to Destination Charging, a podcast by Powerdot, your insight into the future of sustainable mobility. Join us as we explore the different perspectives of those who are accelerating the world towards a greener future.
Welcome to Destination Charging, a podcast by Powerdot. My name is Joao Seabra, and I'm the COO of Powerdot. And as one of the largest pan-European EV charging point operators, we have a unique point of view on the industry. We see the challenges and opportunities that regulators, investors, CPOs, and users face on a daily basis. Our mission at Powerdot is to accelerate sustainable mobility, and with these conversations, we want to share insights, clarify questions, and hopefully show how electric mobility is the way to move forward. Today's guest is Oscar Sánchez, working in business development at Kempower, a company specialized in innovative EV charging solutions. Kempower focuses on developing fast charging stations that cater to the evolving needs of electric vehicle users and businesses. Oscar plays a crucial role in driving Kempower's vision forward, particularly in the area of destination charging, which is essential for promoting the adoption of electric mobility. So welcome to Destination Charging, Oscar.
Thank you, Joel. Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here with you guys. So thank you to you and Powerdot for the invitation. A couple of words for myself, but you already mentioned. So working for Kempower, I'm a segment owner / business development. And my role is to develop, working with inside the company, to develop the strategy for what we call public charging, which is CPOs and retail. And destination charging, as you said, is something like we put a lot of efforts and a lot of focus on Kempower, because we truly believe it's one of the ways to help with the massive adoption of the EVs.
Thank you very much. If you were to kind of split your business nowadays, how do you see like destination charging blooming versus other types of charging, right? Like highway, etc. How do you see destination charging moving over the last couple of years, let's say?
It's a very good question. It's booming. You mentioned it's winning a lot of pace and market share. So I think it's obvious. So we're not telling anything new to anyone, but just in case. So everything started within the highways, right? Because everyone said, well, I have an EV. What happens if I need to travel very far distances? Okay, so everyone started to put the chargers on the highways. But if we look nowadays at more mature markets in terms of EV, like the Nordics, where we're from, actually, right? So we're from Finland. So we have a lot of presence in those countries. If you look at that, EV charging has become a part of the routine of the EV drivers. So they do not need to think where to charge. It's just like they go to a destination, they go to do something else, right? They do the supermarket shopping, they go to special retailer, whatever, and then they do the charging. It's kind of incorporated. And all the data that we have, but also all the data that we've got from consultants and the big firms, they show that destination is one of the preferred charging ways for EV drivers. Of course, the highways, they're still there. We're all traveling from time to time, but we don't, as a majority of EV drivers, we don't drive 400 kilometers or miles every day, right? So we do it from time to time. So yeah, destination is being a big shift in the last 2 years, increasing a lot and winning some space for the highways or other type of charging.
Great. Yeah. So part of our leadership team actually went to do some tour around the Nordics, and they were kind of impressed to see kind of the future of the trend of where we are going to. So that's the kind of the direction, to see destination charging spaces with so many chargers installed, even from different CPOs, sometimes sharing the same space. So it was very impressive, not only the amount of charging plugs, but also the amount of demand. So, but I think that's clearly shown in the numbers of EV sold in the Nordics markets, right?
Yeah, indeed. And everyone is doing the exercise, right? So if you want, you guys are very strong in South Europe, France, Spain, and so on. But if you want to look at what's happening ahead, well, everyone is doing it. Let's go to the Nordics. And it's impressive. I agree. and how you can see, as you said, it's different CPOs sharing the same space, and they're very busy, all of them. So how to differentiate when the location is more or less the same, because location is very important. But if you're sharing the location with another CPO, so how to differentiate, right? So I guess it's customer experience, how easy it's for the customers to charge. They will come back if they have some difficulties, right? Or they cannot turn on the charger for a couple of times. They're going to try the other one, and if they succeed, next time they're going directly to the next one. But yeah, the Nordics is impressive. And one thing they're doing, and we learned from the Nordics, and in fact, we were late to the market, saying that as an EV producer, when we started producing the EV chargers, there were quite already a few established producers. So we were a bit late. But the good thing is we were late enough to see what was happening in the Nordics. And what we realized is that the best sites in the Nordics, the best that they perform, they were better, are the ones that they have more plugs, right? And that's why we incorporated that in our philosophy. It's our slogan as well, more plugs. There's different reasons for that, right? But mainly EV drivers don't want to wait. So they go to where they know they're going to be connected as soon as they arrive. So in our opinion, and I think the time is giving us the reason and telling us that we were right, more plugs is the way to go.
Definitely. And I think that's something that we always praise in your product is more plugs. So the possibility to have more DC parking spots with good power distribution. But how has been your philosophy? So your strategy and your thinking when you've decided to build the product that you have now today. So the one that we have the most with you is of course the satellites. So the C series. When you envisioned the product and where you were designing it, were you thinking already in destination charging? What were the components or the parts that you thought that were like very strategic and very oriented to destination charging?
Yeah, so I think the philosophy of Kempower and Powerdot are very similar, because you guys have also, or we identified that most of your sites are very similar to that philosophy, and that we're very happy because we think also that's a way to go, right, on more plugs. So it was a similar one in the sense that we didn't, even though we knew destination was the way to go already back for 5-6 years ago, we knew that destination was the way to go. We didn't specifically build it more in looking just only on the destination. We build a product looking at, okay, those are the different types. So there were a few types. Destination was one of them, and then we realized that the more plugs are what I just mentioned before. It's very important. But the other point that we saw, it was the power. Like utilizing the power, it's difficult, right? If you build a very big site and with a lot of power, it comes with a lot of money, cost, right? Bringing the power to the site, it's very costly. In some countries, I wouldn't say it's impossible, but it's a big challenge and it takes loads of time. You probably know better than anyone, especially in countries like Spain. It's a real challenge. So once you have the power, you want to make the most out of it, right? So that was our philosophy. So having more plugs with restricted power or less power or the same amount of power, but being able to distribute that power across all the plugs was very important for our customers to have more profitable sites. And that turned out to be very, very convenient for a destination charger, because sometimes the best locations don't necessarily have a lot of power available, or it's very costly to be brought to. So it was a perfect match in that sense. Like, hey, be very responsible on the power that you have and being able to service as many as possible. And as I said, it just turned to be like destination was one of these cases where power is more complicated to bring. So it was a good fit. So I'm not going to say, oh yes, we did it, we nailed it since the beginning. It was destination. It was just one of the strategies that we had. It just turned out to be right? So we bet into destination. People like it, and on destination, it is something that when we develop the product, that is coming from destination, but that specific part, we we identified one issue I already mentioned before as well. EV drivers don't want to wait. So they're more willing to plug as soon as possible. And if I can get only 50 kilowatts for a while until another car leaves, then I can get more power, it's fine. But I want to arrive, plug, and do whatever another, relax, chill, go to the bathroom, whatever. But they don't want to be waiting on the car just, until another car leaves. So that bit was very focused on destination.
Yeah, definitely. And to be honest, I think you guys really almost nailed it from the beginning on the product, not only in terms of power distribution, but a few other things that I would highlight on destination charging related to your product is, the satellites, the dimensions. Usually destination charging spaces, they don't have a lot of space limitations, so the satellite solution is a great option for that. Also, the cable management system, you can kind of use the cable 360 degrees, and the possibility to follow up on the session by scanning the QR code. I think that's also a great feature. So congrats on that, because I think the product is really well oriented towards destination charging. And looking at challenges, like, what are the main challenges that you foresee in the future with destination charging? So I think you already mentioned one that is very clear, which is power limitation, right? So how do you see the market evolving on destination charging specifically, and the challenges that we will have ahead of us?
Yeah. Well, thank you for your words. I mean, you made some very good comments on our product. So it was not only about the power; it was other things. Space is also very important, right? So we also look at the distributed solution, right? Power hidden and so on. So the biggest challenges, we talked about it, power, right? Without power, it's very difficult. So this is something that, as an industry, we need to work on. Like it or not, we can come up with really good solutions. And Kempower, as you said, it's a very good solution on distributing the power. But at some point, you can put, let's say, 16, 24 charges, plugs, whatever you want. But if the power is not available, we're going to struggle. So I think one of the challenges is that one, right? Getting the power to the right locations. And I mean, we're a global company, so we have presence in Europe, North America, Asia, Africa. But let's focus a little bit more on Europe. Even in Europe, it depends a lot. The situation or the challenges are very different. It's not the same Spain or Italy or even Portugal, which is much, much better than Spain. It's not the same than in the UK or, for example, in the Netherlands, where the Netherlands is pretty good, but then some areas like Amsterdam, they're already completely full. So it's very difficult to get a point of connection. So for me, one of the biggest challenges will be the power. That's for sure. So again, we need to still work on being responsible on how we use that power. The other one, some challenges that, and again, this is depending on the countries, is if we want to truly help with the mass adoption of the EV, we need to make it convenient. And by convenient, I mean it's convenient to find the chargers, convenient to be where they want to be. And again, some countries are doing better, but some of the best locations, it's very difficult to get permits. Again, I can't repeat myself that much. It depends on the countries, but if we have some listeners coming from Spain or Italy, they probably know it, or even France, looking with the local authorities and governments, it can be a big challenge. So I think, again, as an industry, we should be working together to convince our governments and local authorities to make this easier. I'm not blaming anyone. I know it depends on many actors, but sometimes it's very difficult. And I know you guys and other CPOs, they sometimes have really good locations. You did your job, an excellent job of finding a good location. You did your study. There is EVs, there are EVs around. There is EV charging demand, but it takes ages to get those sites up and running because of the permits and everything else. So for me, as an industry, those are the two biggest challenges. And then the third one, that it's already a challenge in more mature markets like Norway, is that now an EV driver in those countries can be anyone. And by anyone can be an old person who is not very high tech, right? So they don't usually like to having so many apps on their phone. They don't really know how the EV charger works so well. So when you start talking about CCS and CHAdeMO, they get like, well, I don't even know, right? So you need to explain, well, it's like diesel and gasoline, right? So you have two different. So as soon as we go into the mass adoption, destination charging, helping that we're going to have non-tech EV drivers or not experienced EV drivers, it's just standard drivers, right? So we need to make sure that the user experience, how they access the chargers, how they interact with that, it's easy. And I think you guys are doing an excellent job in that sense, because I like your approach. I think it's one of the ways to go, right? So you don't really need to download an app and a subscription. That maybe it's a good thing to do when you have a network around and you can do it at home. But opening the network like you do, guys, with a QR code, for example, right? So anyone can come in, scan the QR code, start the transaction, or the credit card payment, right? I think the credit card is a good thing, because when you're in a hurry, you don't really want to download the app. It's just, okay, I tap my credit card and I charge and I do my thing. So again, the challenge is for me incorporating the EV charging into the daily routine, and it's not distorting you from your day-to-day routine. Otherwise, you might do it once, but next time you'll go to the next charger, because it's going to be easy for you. So for me, those are the biggest three challenges: power, permits or speeding up things with local authorities, and then the user experience or accessibility.
Yeah, definitely. Very valid, and I'm fully aligned with you. And thanks for the words, but yeah, I think we're very focused on that, right? On facilitating the access to start charging and not having our own app, etc. So you're Spanish, right, Oscar? But
yes,
you're based in the Nordics, I guess.
I work for the Nordics. I work for Finland directly, but I'm still living in Barcelona.
You live in Barcelona, correct?
Yes, I travel very often though to Finland.
Great, and have you had some EV charging experiences in Powerdot? So we do have some close to you, and some in France as well, and across Spain, Portugal, etc. So in your travelings, have you visited one of our stations, and how did it go?
Yes. In fact, I have two stories to explain. So the first one, if anyone wants to visit my LinkedIn, it's there, and it's from a few months ago. You guys open a station in my city. I live nearby Barcelona, but it's not technically Barcelona. It's a smaller city, and you open that in my favorite supermarket where I go very often. So that was for me. I made a post. I'm not very active on LinkedIn. That's why I say if you go there, you'll find it. Like maybe if you scroll down, you're probably going to see 2 or 3 posts. You're going to see that one. I was very happy. There was a picture of me, super happy. Say, oh yeah, it's there. I use it all the time.
Do you want to say the name or no publicity?
About the site?
Yeah.
No, definitely. So it's called Terrassa Plaza. It's a shopping mall. And they have a supermarket across to many other retailers like a dog food, and they also have like these I don't want to say name, but those big retailers where you can buy things for construction and rebuilding your house and so on. So it's a big shopping mall, but I'm especially interested in the supermarket. I go very often, and for me that really helped incorporating the EV charging into my daily routine, because I'm a fully public charging user. I don't have a home charging, because as many people in South Europe, like France, Italy, Spain, Portugal, live in apartments in big cities and don't usually have access to a home charger, right? So I'm 100% relying on public charging. And this charger was very useful because it's the biggest charger, not in power, but in terms of parking spaces in my city. So I was very often going to my closest charging, but it was busy. And I hated that because I didn't want to wait. So I go now to this one. It takes me 5 more minutes to drive, but I know I'm going to find a free spot because there's 6. And Well, once from time to time, I see the 6 of them being used, but it doesn't happen very often, and it's very quick to remove the car and get the next one. So I go there, I do my shopping in 20 minutes, and when I come, my car is full. So in terms of the experience, that's super useful. So I'm loving that one. So I'm super happy that you guys opened that one. I couldn't be happier. And the other experience that I had, I went to France a few months ago, and something that I found is that the local CPOs, it was still managed by a lot of French CPOs, local ones, and everything was in French. And I was still okay because I'm Spanish, but I'm from Catalonia, so we speak Catalan. It's a little bit like French, so if it's written, I can understand it. But it was a big challenge. But when I found the Powerdot on the map, like, okay, I'm going there. I know it was super easy. It was credit card. I charge. I don't even need to understand the what it's saying. I know that I tap. I look at the screen. It says it turns to green, so it's charging. Then I go. That was super convenient. So I tried a couple of French CPOs. One of them I succeeded. The other one I couldn't understand it. So then the next one I said, well, I'm going to the ones that I know they have a good user experience and I know how to use them. So again, that was a very, very positive one.
Great, Oscar. Great. Thanks for sharing. More on a global scale. What is Kempower's like project that you feel like more proud about in terms of number of plugs, like in terms of dimension on a big scale globally? Where is it located, and what is the use case there exactly?
I mean, of course, go from the Nordics, right? So we're very strong there, and I could say we have a huge market share there, and especially in Finland and Norway, if you drive around, you're going to see mostly Kempower chargers. But I mean, we're very proud of what we're doing because we sometimes try to focus so much on Europe, but we're also building networks with our customers in North America. And the US is also a very difficult market coming from a European producer, but we're succeeding and we're doing very, very well. And we're very proud of that. And it's a completely different mindset. What works in Europe as destination, as we look at it, it might not technically work in the US. It might be similar. We've got some players like Walmart. They are a big supermarket in the US that they're building their stations. So it might be different, but we're very proud of what we're doing there. But again, we're also very proud of what's happening, for example, in Australia or in Asia. Difficult markets, again, for European producers, and we're succeeding. And we're having thousands of plugs installed there. So we truly, in our vision is we truly want to make this accessible, EV charging accessible for everyone, everywhere. And this is our mission. We're working really hard to make it happen, from cold weathers to warm weathers, different ways of mindset on the EV drivers. And we're succeeding. So we're very proud because we're really following our vision on being global and having solutions for all the countries. And by that, another thing that we're also very proud, we're very strong, and that might not be related to Powerdot, but please just let me mention that one. Maybe it is. Something that we're very proud as well is also we're helping to electrify not only the passenger cars, right? So we're helping with ports, harbors, and the most recently one, and we're very strong there, is the truck charging, right? So Kempower, we're very strong on the truck charging side, and we're one of the first globally bringing solutions with the MCS or the megawatt charging system, which is 1 megawatt per truck. Still, it's a very new protocol and so on. But that is something that we're very proud. We're very proud. We made the announcement this year in Oslo about the product. We presented it there. It was a big success, and everyone is interested. Is raising a lot of interest. We're very proud on that part that we're building, and you're going to see news and business cases soon about it, which is the next part of the electrification journey, right? I mean, we couldn't or we shouldn't stop only the passenger cars. Trucks are a big proportion of the CO2 emissions. I'm not saying I'm not this these guys saying, oh, all of the trucks are going to be electric. No, there's going to be different use cases and different technologies. Hydrogen may play a role, but definitely there is a big proportion of the trucks that could be electrified. If you travel to Sweden, you're going to see it. Sweden is one of the main markets for truck electrification. It's crazy to see what's happening there, and it's working. So I know some people are a bit reluctant on the truck charging, but it's working. So it's a suggestion to go to Sweden if you're looking to truck charging. It's impressive. And that's one of the things that we're very proud of at the moment with the MCS and all the truck and off-passenger, non-passenger cars charging.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for sharing, Oscar. And I definitely want to visit the Nordics and get a grasp of what the future looks like. But as you said, you're a global, so you sell chargers at the global scale, right? So what trends have you seen lately? Like, what markets do you think are emerging right now? In Europe, there's a lot of heat recently with all the recent news about the car manufacturers, so on and so forth. So how do you see the trends at the global scale in terms of sales? Like, do you see any specific markets that are really now picking up that were really far behind? How do you see the evolution going at the moment?
A very interesting topic. I mean, we always talk about Norway, but we forget about China sometimes. And I haven't been there.
I did last year, and it's insane.
Right?
Yeah. It's I think I was in Shanghai, and I think more than 50% of the vehicles that you see on the street are fully electric, which is insane.
It's crazy.
And not only Chinese brands, but you also see a lot of Teslas, so it's quite interesting.
Indeed. And even European brands are selling there. It's just that we should learn a little bit from the Chinese, because the adoption was quite seamlessly, right, done by them, and it wasn't really the government pushing that much. It was just the whole thing just worked. So I would say China. I'm not going to say it's picking up. It's already a mature market, and they also have a lot of motorbikes. We have a team close to China, right? We have an Asian team. So we talk to them and they explain us how that market is evolving, and it's crazy. But if we look, so China would be one of these trends that we should be looking. What's happening there? Again, they have a different way of doing things. So it might not work exactly 100%, but they do work here in Europe. But if I look a little bit closer, right? So let's focus on Europe again. Two big regions booming. One is South Europe. There was a bit of a flat year this year in Spain and Italy in terms of EV sales. But if you look at the numbers, they still are growing faster than in other regions. And of course, it's easier to grow faster when you have less. And the other one important region that we see really, really having a big hype on EV charging or EV is the Eastern countries. Not all of them at the same time, but there's a lot going on in countries like Poland, Slovakia, Romania, Croatia. It's really things happening. You see a lot of CPOs from traditional countries on the EV or Western countries moving towards those countries, but also local CPOs emerging. So it's a market where things are happening right now. So it could be a good point for any CPO if they're looking to expand to be there. I think Eastern Europe is a good trend. And then if we look a little bit then to the West, the US, some states are really driving a change. California is something different. The adoption is easier there. There's many EVs already. But if you look at some states are really pushing for it. And the funny thing is we sometimes in Europe we tend to think the US as a whole has one market. And when you look at different states, it's very different. So again, it's another trend. In a few of those states, it's happening. And the interesting thing is, it's more about convenience stores in the US, in North America. At least that's how we see nowadays. It's more in the highways and convenience stores. That's where we see the most of the charges happening. And then somebody hearing from the US might say, no, but I see that it's happening in the supermarket somewhere else. No, there's many business cases, but we see that's quite a strong one. And when you look at the numbers of those surveys that the people do, the US drivers, they still want to grab something quick, have a quick pump on the battery, and keep driving home or wherever they're going. But that might change. But anyway, those are the trends that we see. China definitely picking up so far, Eastern Europe, and a few states in the US.
No, thanks, Oscar. And just a final question, which is whatever you can disclaim that is not confidential, of course, but what can we expect from Kempower in the upcoming years? So any sort of disruptive technologies that you're thinking of, or battery storage systems. So there's a lot of new things going on. How is basically Kempower from a technology standpoint looking at the future? And yeah, that's a final question.
It's a difficult one, right? I don't want to share that, but we can share a few details. So 2 points, right? So the first one, we still focus on power. We understand power is difficult, and this is public. We have a cooperation with the battery producer. We're looking into that because sometimes you guys, and I say you as a CPO of Powerdot, you may find a really, really good site, and getting the power there might be impossible. So battery storage could be an option, could be a temporary option, or could be a fixed option, right? So there's different business cases we can do the studies and check. But it could be an interim solution to put the chargers on the ground if you really had a good location, and if it works, then you start investing in getting the power to that site. Or it could be like, okay, this site is working already, we want to expand, but we cannot find the power, so let's put a battery storage. So we're looking into that. And managing the power, managing the energy is also a very important topic. And it's something, energy markets, frequency markets, that's something that we're working on. So that's already available in some countries. It depends on the regulations and if the energy market is actually available. But we can tap on those markets and help our CPOs to increase the profitability of CPO customers, increase some profitability. Because again, one of the other missions that we have is to make our customers profitable. It was one of the challenges many CPOs had in the Nordics because they were building too big in power, and sometimes it gets difficult to achieve profitability. So looking at those things, still focusing a lot on, we understand power is still a problem. It's going to be a problem for a while because it's not easy to expand the grids. So looking into that. So frequency markets, it could be smart energy contracts, like you can use the charges with more power at certain time of the year and so on. Again, this is not available in every country, not because we don't have the technology, just because the energy or the grid is not ready in those countries, but where it is, we can do that. So if anyone is interested, or you guys are interested, talk to us. We've got an equivalent of me, a segment owner for these things. So we're putting a lot of focus and effort on this. And we keep working on the user experience, right? So the second topic is that one. So a few things that are new, well, fairly new. Again, it depends on the country regulations, but you talked about the QR code, scanning the QR code, and then you can take the session with you. That's super useful. In some countries where doing the invoice and the ticketing system is easier, you can actually use that same QR code, and when you bring the session with you on the phone, when you finish, there is a button where you can actually download the receipt, and you can use it, for your company or tax, whatever, right? So again, customer experience, trying to make it very, very easier to our customers. And of course, we still look into different configurations and business cases. We understand that some of the sites are getting bigger and bigger in terms of power and plugs. So looking on those directions to, having a very good user experience for customers. One of the main focuses, for example, is never having to wait, right? So yeah, that's all I can say so far. But be tuned, because we always promote our things on our social media. There's a few things coming for 2025, but the main focus is, as I said, is power. It's very difficult to get, and customer experience are our two main focus.
Great. So thanks a lot, Oscar. That was it on my side. No further questions. Thanks a lot for your time. It was a real pleasure talking with you. And yeah, hope to see you soon in the future.
Thank you, Joao. Thanks for your time and the invitation as well. And thanks to Powerdot, I can say that as Kempower. We love working with you guys because you're truly helping the EV adoption. You're doing an amazing job and keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Destination Charging. For more insights and to stay connected with our mission to accelerate sustainable mobility, please visit our show notes for links and further resources. Don't forget to review and subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Until next time, and keep moving forward with Destination Charging.